What's going on, everyone? Welcome to T3G. My name's Dalibor. Today we're going to be talking about how to buy a laptop for college. Coming up. So little Timmy is off to school, and you know what? He needs a computer. Do you go out and spend $3,000 and hope that that's the right thing? Do you go out and spend $600 to hope that's the right thing? I think both options are wrong. I think the first and only thing you should ever consider for buying a computer, buying a laptop specifically, is what is it going to be used for? Going to college, there is a bunch of different things to consider, but especially when buying a computer, you have to consider what it's going to be used for. If it's going to be brought to class for notes, you could start real low. You could start at about 150 bucks. If it's just going to be used for notes, you pick up a Chromebook for 150 bucks, done deal, no problem. And in most cases, I'd say that's probably the best way to go. Outside of a few fields that are going to need hardware the first year, you're going to be real good just buying a Chromebook for 150 bucks to take notes on, because that's all it's going to be used for. Take notes, maybe get online, do some browsing, check Facebook. But you got to remember, most of the stuff's being done on their phones anyway. So the laptop is really just a utility at this point. Now, going into some more advanced stuff, if it's going to be a research-heavy field of study, you've got to consider that there's going to be multiple windows open, multiple applications open. You're getting information online, you're putting it into documents. You need multiple things going on at the same time. So you need something with a lot of RAM. RAM is what handles multiple operations at the same time. Processing is, of course, important, but RAM is the biggest thing. So something like a mid-range to high-range Chromebook or a mid-range to high-range computer, you're looking like $500 to $1,000 at this point. You're noticing RAM's the only hardware I'm talking about. OS doesn't really matter because MacBooks don't really start up until the $700-800 range, and even those are really underpowered for the price point. A lot of websites try to tell you that you need to pick an operating system, you need to pick a price point. You need to understand what it's going to be used for, and then the rest of that stuff will sort of fall into place. Now, if your student is going into a specific technology field, you need to address the needs of that field. If they're going to be doing programming, you need to be looking at what operating systems they're going to need. You also need to be looking at what software they're going to need. Some software can and will run on anything. Other software is very specific per operating system. Now, if we're being very, very honest, if your student is going into an art or design field, you're going to be starting at $1,000 minimum. There's no real way to get around that. You should not, absolutely not buy a $600 computer to cover the needs of an art or design student. The industry standard programs that they're going to be learning on and using require a good amount of power and resources just off the bat. So really, if your student is going into art or design, you're starting at $1,000, and you need to consider specifics. If they're going into video production, they're going to need more RAM, more processing. If they're going into photo production, more RAM, not necessarily more processing. It all really 100% depends on what it's going to be used for. The deal of the week on XYZ website is not necessarily the best way to buy, and it's almost certainly not the best thing for your student. I've also seen that a lot of websites recommend not overspending. Now, that's kind of a double-edged sword. If you spend a lot of money, like $2,000, $3,000 on a computer that's going to be really just doing some documents and word editing and things like that, then yeah, you're most likely overspending, especially if your student doesn't do anything else on their computer. If they're just gonna need it as a utility, yeah, you're overspending. But in most cases, honestly, if it is a technology field, it's hard to overspend because most likely the software in play is gonna eventually elevate to the point where you're gonna need more hardware. Spending $3,000 to $5,000 on a laptop, there are $5,000 laptops, for a gaming student is not unreasonable. It is in fact probably the best thing to do, because as the technologies evolve, as the software they're going to be working in escalates, as their projects get bigger, they're going to need more hardware power. You notice I keep going back to what the student is going to be doing. That is 100% of the time the determining factor on how to buy a laptop for a student or for really anybody. You'll also notice I haven't talked a lot about specific models because at the end of the day, brand loyalty, as I've mentioned before, has nothing to do with how much work you're going to get done and how much you're going to get out of the money that you're spending for a computer. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you are not subscribed. Like and share the video if you think others might get some use out of this. I didn't want to hold off until the beginning of the school year, or the back to school season in July and August, because I think by then people have already bought these computers and I feel like the value is not there. I wanted to do it now before the back to school season starts, because then you can snatch up those deals if, again, it's the right computer for what it's going to be used for. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to T3G. My name is Dalibor. This week we are talking about how... Mother...